Today on SLEDHEAD 24/7, the El Tigre, an iconic name in the snowmobile industry. And it's back for 2014 with all new features. Mac and Fish have a test session with an in-depth sled evaluation. And we head over to Arctic FX Graphics, a snowmobile graphics company that can't make it any easier to customize the look of your sled. And later, Skidoo shows us how properly layering is a necessity for bearing outside temps and elements. And finally, the future of the sport's growing fast with Team Arctic Cat. Follow along as we highlight some young guns on the snowcross track. All this and more coming up on SLEDHEAD 24/7.
We've got the biggest, baddest snowmobiles money can buy from the OEMs, and we have talent, Fish.
I'm RMR and you're watching SLEDHEAD 24/7.
Welcome to another episode of SLEDHEAD 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applett, along with my co-host, tech expert Jeff Fisher, and former racer Paul Mack. We're hanging out at Pro Power Sports in Ramsey, Minnesota, and kicking off today's show with a sled evaluation from Arctic Cat.
You know, Arctic Cat did a great thing in bringing back the name El Tigre. There's so much heritage, there's so much history in the El Tigre name. And to make it even better, they have a new two-stroke engine that Cat developed themselves. It's a C-Tech 2. It's super powerful, ultra reliable, very fuel efficient. They've got a hands-down winner going here.
No, they do, with the Fox shocks, the fast track suspension, the thing's tight, precise, and that Pro Ride chassis, the thing's an absolute blast to drive.
Okay, boys, let's take a look.
Hey, we're up in northern Wisconsin. We're at the Valhalla View Pub and Grub up in Washburn, Wisconsin. We're out putting our new sleds to the paces today, Paulie, and I tell you what, the trails are groomed to a T.
They really are. The weather's fantastic. We have a ton of fresh snow up here. The trails are groomed. We found a lot of areas that aren't groomed, so we can go play in the powder, and we got a great sled, Fish.
Yeah, we're riding the new 14 Arctic Cat 6000 El Tigre, and I tell you what, this thing is a blast.
And this has got the new C-Tech 2 600 engine. Remember, that was developed by Arctic Cat, all done in-house. It's got great power, great ergonomics. I'm excited.
They've done their homework, and tell you what, I give them thumbs up.
I want to get out, put some more miles on it, really evaluate it, Fish.
You know what, the trails are good. Let's go use them.
This is the Arctic Cat 2014 El Tigre 6000. This is one sweet sled.
You know, this sled is, I think, for a guy who just wants to get out and enjoy the trail riding.
You know, what's really fun about this sled is, you know, even though it is a, you know, people think it's a 600, they don't think it has the power that they would like. Tell you what, this new 600 from Arctic Cat, it packs a good punch. This thing does have a good rip. The thing lays real flat. The way you sit on it, it's a very comfortable sled for me. At 6 foot, I mean, even a shorter person or taller fits this sled really nice.
I love the ergonomics. The height of the handlebars, your arms are straight across, they're not too high, they're not too low. The bend in your knee, to me, is perfect. It does not get any better than this for rider forward. This thing, to go out for 200 miles, is an absolute joy. It's so comfortable.
I mean, dipping off the trail a little bit is really easy. I mean, the thing's very nimble, easy to move around, and yet has good power to pull out of those situations.
It has the new C-Tech 2 600cc engine developed by Arctic Cat in-house, and this engine is really, really smooth. It's super, super quiet. I hear more intake noise than I hear from the exhaust noise. I mean, it is really quiet.
Engine-wise, this thing's got power. I mean, seriously responsive. It does everything you want to do, and what that creates is confidence. It builds so much confidence when you're riding. It's just a joy to ride.
We voted this as our trail sled of the year, and it is. It's a great trail sled. Groomed trail, rough trail. It's just a good all-around sled. I mean, you can go off trail with the 129-inch track. Does give you some flotation, but primarily I think it's something you want to get out and put some miles on. You want to get some economy with both gas and oil. This is a very good choice.
If you're an aggressive trail rider and yet you want to go still hit the bumps, some big bumps, it does it well. That's two things this thing really excels at. And if you want to put 200 miles on, not have a sore back, sip fuel, sip oil, get great economy, you have to have the Arctic Cat LT Ray 6000.
Still ahead, getting ready to ride is more important than you think. We'll show you how to properly layer to avoid the elements. Later, Arctic FX Graphics is the leader in custom graphics for your snowmobile. We'll get an inside peek and show you how easy it is to create a wrap for your sled. And the next generation of snowcross is on the line. These racers bleed green, and we'll find out why. Stay tuned. SLEDHEAD 24/7 is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Polaris, terrain domination. Ram, guts, glory, Ram. Fox, redefining ride dynamics. And by Stud Boy, traction with an attitude.
Welcome back, sled fans. You're watching SLEDHEAD 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin, and joining me is my co-host, Paul Mack. Now, Paul, tell us why the proper layering is so important when you're out riding.
No, layering is absolutely crucial because if you don't do it properly and you end up with too much clothes on the beginning of the day, you start to sweat. When you sweat, you get wet, and then as the day goes on, you freeze, and nobody likes to spend a day being cold.
Right, the last thing you want when you're putting on miles is to be stopping and putting on any clothing or taking any off. So we're going to show you how to properly layer your clothing so you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, Carly, now we always talk about properly setting up our snowmobiles. Now we need to properly set up our riding gear.
We already know that we look good, but it's more than just looking good because you want to stay warm and dry when you're out riding.
And that goes along with our base, mid, and outerwear.
Now it's time to show you guys how and why we properly layer.
Skidoo, being the technical company that they are, has also taken apparel to a technical level. They have 3 different styles of base layering. First is your recreational, which is just an average riding. You have your active, which is for mountain riding, racing, and your touring, which is a little heavier. Carly has that on, and what it is for if you're going to sit on your sled for long periods of time, need a little more warmth in your base layer.
You want to wear a perfect combination of fabrics like polyester and spandex, which this is, to wick the moisture away. Not necessarily the warmest, but that's why we add the mid layer.
I got my base. Don't forget the socks.
Now let's show them the mid layer.
That's right. And now with the mid layer, this is where we get our insulation as well as our warmth.
And fleece is the #1 recommended material to keep you warm. And they also at Skidoo offer a fleece pant, but you don't necessarily need it if you have insulated pants on. You know, it's one of those layers that you can shed if you're too warm.
Well, yeah, I like to wear this in the morning when I go out, and in the afternoon if I'm starting to get hot, I can take it off. It's lightweight, easy to put somewhere. I just like to keep it around when it starts to cool off.
Now we're going to talk about a layer that you have to have, and that is the outer layer. Now we're showing you the outer layer. This is the layer that's going to keep you most warm, and there are a few different options for this one.
Yeah, Skidoo offers shell-type jackets with no insulation as well as jackets with insulation.
And the 2 most important components of this layer are being water and wind resistant.
Wind resistant. Now you're snowmobiling, you're going at speed, the wind increases. You need a jacket that has a good membrane to keep the wind out, as well as flaps around your zipper, Velcro, so it keeps the wind from penetrating at your neck and your body.
We've shown you a lot when it comes to layering today. Make sure to keep it all in mind as you head out to ride because it makes for a much more enjoyable ride. And we've shown you just a few things that Skidoo has to offer, so make sure to grab their catalog and check them out online.
Still ahead on SLEDHEAD 24/7. Arctic FX Graphics is the leader in aftermarket sled wraps. We'll find out how easy it is to customize the look of your sled. And later, Follow along as we highlight some young guns on the snowcross track and find out why they bleed green. Stay tuned. SLEDHEAD 24/7 is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. FXR, world-class outerwear. Arctic FX Graphics, make it yours. GoPro, be a hero. Michelob Golden Light, you're golden. And by Skidoo Snowmobiles.
Welcome back to SLEDHEAD 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin, and joining me, my co-host, Jeff Fisher. Now, Jeff, customizing your sled with a wrap is becoming really big, isn't it?
It's becoming huge. The team at Arctic FX can't make it any easier to do so. Go on their website, and with their configurator, you can design and build whatever you'd like. They have all kinds of choices. Push of a button, it's in your hands, and the installation's a breeze.
Let's head over to Arctic FX Graphics and find out more.
Arctic FX is a graphics company specializing in snowmobiles. It's our passion, is power sports and snowmobiles in general. I started this company back in 2004 with my first Firecat. I didn't like the graphics on it, so I went around shopping to try and get a wrap put on. We were basically the first online wrap company to surface at that time. And since then, we've made a lot of improvements. We've been through a couple iterations of the website, and the latest one is SLEDHEAD.com. So SLEDHEAD, super easy to use. It was a big focus of ours to make this thing as easy to figure out as possible. We started out by thinking we needed a way to show a sled as it sits stock, to give you a reference point. And then we thought, well, you kind of want to see what this wrap's going to look like on your panel, so we built in that function as well. And then we said, okay, well, how many layers do we need to complete a wrap? We came up with 5. So we can build our wrap by starting with the base layer, and you can see your sled start to populate here with the colors that you choose. You're going to be able to search for wraps by brand, model, sub-model, so on and so forth. So you can really dive down into it. The cool thing about SLEDHEAD is you can save up to 80,000 different iterations of the same wrap. The possibilities are endless to make it yours. Once you submit your order, it goes to our design team. They get it ready for print, redoes the colorway to your specification, then saves it into the print process. Our production team prints it, they laminate it, they cut it. So we got a wrap off a SLEDHEAD printing here. We put all the colors in separately. This is a highly durable foil that we use for print. Every color is printed separate through a dye sublimation process. It's embedded into the vinyl. Super durable, super UV resistant. We find it's the best product to use for any kind of power sports wrap. Comes over to our weed table here, get rid of all the excess vinyl, goes into a box, and gets shipped to your door. So we're down at the local dealership to us, K&W Cycle in Utica, Michigan. Customer just bought this sled here and wants a tunnel wrap put on it, so that's what we're gonna do. Got our wrap here, we've got some install products. We're gonna wrap up the sled. So when you go to install, we sell an application kit which has adhesive remover, cleaners, some really cool felt squeegees in there that are going to help you put your graphics on with ease. We have an exclusive air pass technology that we have worked with our supplier to produce. It's a high bond adhesive that actually has air channels etched into it on the backside so that you can lay these graphics out dry, no liquid involved, worry-free, no bubbles. We just got the tunnel and top all wrapped up. Took us about an hour to install, went on super easy and clean. Gives it a nice finished look. Check us out at arcticfxgraphics.com and make it yours.
Up next on SLEDHEAD 24/7, we hit the racetrack and introduce the future of snowcross. Stay tuned. SLEDHEAD 24/7 is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Arctic Cat, share our passion. C&A Pro Skis, ride like a pro. Bully Dog, more power, more pull, more bully. Spy, see better, feel better. And by Speedworks, straight up USA horsepower.
Welcome back to SLEDHEAD 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin, and coming up next, we're going to take a look at some young guns on the snowcross track.
You know, these youngsters bleed green. They have high hopes of making it big. And I'd say being sponsored by Arctic Cat, they're already in the big time. They're on the right track.
On the right track is correct. Racing the national circuit at such a young age and the family support they have is amazing. Let's find out more.
I don't really get intimidated by much people, you know. I guess if I had to get intimidated by anybody, it would be the track.
I'm pretty much bleed green. My dad and stuff, he used to race Arctic Cat too, so it runs in the family.
I'm more like just get a bunch of adrenaline and just want to hold the tape and not even stop.
Me as a racer, I like to go out there and challenge myself and push myself to do as best as I can.
Have fun, gotta go to the start, be safe. I support Megan 100% in the racing. Obviously, I enjoy it as well.
I couldn't do it without my family. They're 100% behind me all the time, and they're always there backing me up and pushing me to do better.
All right, you ready? Focus.
My whole family's very supportive and the whole team, but you know, me and my dad have a relationship like I don't think much people have. It's awesome that he can be my crew chief, my mechanic, and it comes to anything, he's always there for me, and I really appreciate that.
You know, everybody knows him for what he's doing here, and you know, like I said, this is his passion and what he loves to do, along with mine, and yeah, everybody's real supportive of it.
It's a family thing that we have to all be involved and do it. So we're a one sled show, just the two of us. This little trailer is working out perfect, easy to heat. We have everything we need in there. Again, these sleds are pretty low maintenance, so there's not a lot of work that we have to do to them.
Hector said give her the onions.
Give her the onions, all right.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. You get to test your limits of your strength and endurance on the big track and stuff.
Sucked up, bud. That's too bad. You did a great job, though. You charged, you caught somebody and passed them. That's awesome. To manhandle a sled like this around the track and to have that drive and that will to push his limits and make changes and get better and better, you bet I'm proud.
He's been racing since he was 4, whether it's motocross or snowcross. We just try to coach him, give him some tips, where to go with different lines, just how to do it. All right, it's time to go. Head on. Game on, you know the track, you go up that hill and you push it the whole way, right? LCQ, go or go home. Do this.
I'm just mostly focused on the track and just thinking of how much throttle it needs to hit the jumps and go through the corners fast enough.
As a racer, she's grown into a pretty fierce competitor.
Right before the race, start to warm up a little bit and get in the zone, and then so on the starting line, just get your mind totally into it and just ride your own race pretty much.
When the green flag drops, she's all business. She has a focus and she wants what she wants and she goes after it.
Just the desire he has to go out and do what it takes, and you know, there's no limits of, you know, what time he has to work out or whatever. I mean, his main thing is he wants to win.
It's a blast, you know, that's all I've really ever known since I got home from the hospital, you know. My dad put a Blair Morgan poster right above my crib, and that's what I've just loved to do since I was a little boy. My goal is out there on the track is to win and get on the podium every time.
I'd like to be a pro snowcross racer and have some sponsors, have a good team, and stick with Arctic Cat the whole way there.
Yeah, I would say the goal is, I mean, we want to perform to the, you know, the absolute best we can.
It's always to come out and win and be healthy at the same time, but the main goal is to win and set yourself up for the future. It would for surely be a dream come true, you know, to be racing out of the Arctic Cat trailer.
Goals out there to just come out healthy and on top on the podium and do well.
For up and coming kids, people that want to try the sport, get yourself a sled. Doesn't have to be a brand new sled. get a few years old machine and throw it in the back of a pickup truck if you need to. Take it to the race, go have fun.
Those racers truly are the future of this sport, and we wish them the best of luck throughout the ISOC season.
You know, it's such a blast to watch these young racers muscle the snowmobiles around. It is incredible the way they can handle those sleds at those races, Fish.
Oh yeah, the races are just fantastic. The ISOC and the way ISOC has just grown over the years, and it's still a great family sport, a great place to bring the whole family.
And the racing is truly incredible. So we're almost out of time for this episode of SLEDHEAD 24/7. I'm your host, Carly Applin, along with my co-hosts Jeff Fisher and Paul Mack. We want to say a huge thank you to Pro Power Sports in Ramsey, Minnesota, and to all of our sponsors. Make sure to check us out online at SLEDHEAD24-7.com and like us on Facebook. Who knows, you might just ride with us this season. From all of us here at SLEDHEAD 24/7, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Next week on SLEDHEAD 24/7, we catch up with Speedworks as they show us what's in store for the Arctic Cat Z120. Accessories are a necessity. Skidoo's plug-and-play feature makes it easy to install anything out of their catalog. Carly and Fish have a preview. Then, we venture off the beaten trail and evaluate the Skidoo Freeride 137 with R-Motion, a sled with some backcountry attitude. And get an inside look at Polaris Racing as we follow some pros on the national tour. All that and more next week on SLEDHEAD 24/7.
Hey Sledders, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube for the latest episodes, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, check us out on SLEDHEAD24-7.com. And who knows, you may just catch us in action this season.